Autoencoders. The last concept which we'll be discussing about these RNNs in our lecture series is autoencoders. So, if you come across your photographs in your childhood or in my childhood or in 90s, so the people who born in 90s during their childhood, who used to go to the photo studio and then the photographer or the photo taking person is going to click a photograph and he asked us to wait for 4 to 5 days because he has to dip that film or dip that negative we call in our informal language, right? So that negative in a dark room in some solution, right? So I hope all of you guys remember those days, right? So only the photographers or some experts are able to do those kind of things, right? So that is clicking a picture and the retrieving those photos from those negatives is actually a time consuming process. But later on, in the late 2000 or in the late 90s, okay, we got a digital camera revolution, right? So when we got the revolution of these digital cameras, so there is no need for us to go to the photo studio now, right? So all the things, whatever photos or whatever pictures we wanted to take, we are taking now in our smartphones, laptops, and we are storing them in our smartphones, laptops, and even in the cloud storage also. So now, once upon a time, we used to have a lot of love towards our photographs. But now, when we are taking photographs, we don't feel any affection towards taking a photograph, right? What would be the reason? Can anyone tell me what is the reason? What would be the reason why we are not having any, I mean, excitement towards taking a picture?
It became very common, sir.
It became very common. So when it is widely available, there will be no importance for anything. Okay. So మీలో చాలా మంది స్టేటస్ పెడుతుంటారు కదా, డోంట్ బి అవైలబుల్ ఆల్వేస్ ఫర్ ఎవ్రీవన్ బికాజ్ విల్ లూజ్ యువర్ ఓన్ సెల్ఫ్. ఓకే. సో అలా పెడుతుంటారు కదా. సో అలాగే ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే ఈ ఫొటోస్ అనేవి ఈ డిజిటల్ కెమెరా రెవల్యూషన్ అనేది ఎప్పుడైతే స్టార్ట్ అయిపోయిందో ఆబ్వియస్లీ the demand for clicking a picture or the demand for storing a picture also ఏమైపోయింది, తగ్గిపోయింది. సో అయితే ఏంటి సార్ ఆటో ఎన్కోడర్ గురించి చెప్పమంటే ఈ సోదంతా చెప్తున్నారు ఏంటి అని మీరు అనుకోవచ్చు కదా. సో వాట్ ఫోటోగ్రాఫ్స్ or why photographs have a link with autoencoders? So what photographs has to do with these autoencoders? So actually these autoencoders, what they will do is they help us to enhance and improve the quality of a digital photograph. So whenever we take a photograph, sometime when we take a photograph, a digital photographs, there will be some pictures which are some hazy, and they are sometimes they are pixelated, and sometimes they are blurry, right? So we feel something that we have some kind of blurred picture. Then you may ask, sir, what's wrong with that? If I get a blurred picture and then I again can take another picture, right? But if there are hundreds of pictures, but if there are thousands of pictures, we cannot again click those pictures all the time, right? So this is where actually the deep learning comes into existence, and most specifically the concept of autoencoders is going to help us in this kind of situation. Okay, so now let us see what are autoencoders or what is autoencoder. So on which principle does this autoencoder is going to work out and so on. Okay, so autoencoder is essentially, of course, in neural network architecture. We know that because we are discussing about neural networks and deep learning. But what is the objective of autoencoder? Actually, this autoencoder is built with the objective of learning the low dimensional feature representations of the input data. Okay, do remember, autoencoder, it is going to learn the lower dimensional feature representations of the input data. Now we are going to give some input data. Now we send it through the autoencoder. Now what does it do? It learns the lower dimensional feature representations. I'll tell you what are lower dimensional feature representations when I'm going to tell you an example. Okay. So if you see what an autoencoder is comprised of. An autoencoder is comprised of two connected networks. The first one is encoder and the second one is decoder. So how many connected networks are there? The first one is encoder and the second one is decoder. Now let us see. Coming to the encoder part, what is the main aim of encoder part? The encoder takes the input. Let us represent the input as X. Okay. And what does it do? It produces a feature map. Okay. This is our input data and it produces a feature map or simply features. So if you observe here, the input data box is size is greater than the features box size. So if you observe this size, the input data size is greater than the feature map size. Why is it so? Because when we want to capture the meaningful factors, that is, we have input data, of course, but from this one, we wanted to capture only the meaningful factors from the input data. So these meaningful factors, most importantly, they are going to describe the input data. So obviously, when we are going to take the meaningful factors or meaningful features, obviously our features representation is less. The size of this feature representation is less when compared to the input data. Okay. Now the question is, how do we learn this feature representation? So we are telling that jet is feature representation. How we are going to learn this feature representation? Okay. And the next question is, how do we train this model? Okay. So to learn the feature representation and to train this model, we are going to add another network called the decoder network on top of these extracted features. So here we have input data and we have features extracted. Now to these features extracted, now we are going to add a next network called decoder network. So a general or a typical autoencoder network looks like this. If you see, this is our input data and these are the features extracted from the input data and this is the reconstructed input data. Okay. And I will tell you what is this loss function, that is x minus x dot square. Okay. So this network is trained in such a way that the features, what are the features here represented by Z? The features are used to reconstruct the original input data. So I will show you a diagrammatic representation, then it will be more easy for you to understand. So if you see, we use the term called reconstruct the original input data. Actually, we will be giving some input data, but that is not the true input data. Okay, so this is our input data. Okay, so from this we are going to learn some features. Now we are going to reconstruct the original input data. Okay, so there is some other input data which is some original input data. Now we reconstruct this original input data. Okay, so I hope you understand. Okay, so if you see here, we have an output. The output is represented by x dot, that is a dot on top of x. Okay, so if this output is different from the input, okay, then we have a loss. Okay, so this loss analyzes this error and it helps to reconstruct the input data. Okay, if you see here, let us now see a case study here. Okay, let us now see a case study, that is image denoising autoencoder. Autoencoder can be implemented in different applications. We are just looking after the application of denoising an image. Okay, so if you see, we wanted to remove the noise from a given image. So if you see on the bottom of the screen, we have a set of handwritten digits and these handwritten digits have become corrupted. So can anyone tell me what does these images represent us? What numbers are there in these images? Can anyone tell me?
72109.
72104. So obviously our human brain is trained in such a way that we can extract the useful information from this corrupted, because we find some patterns which are similar to 7 in the first image and which are similar to 2 in the second image, 1, 0 and 4 in the other images as well, right? So now how we are going to send these images to the autoencoder and how we are going to work out. So what will be our desired output? Okay, so the desired output will be 7, 2, 1, 0 and 4. So removing the noise from the input images. Now we are going to give the input images, these input images actually. So these images we are going to give it to the autoencoder, and now our aim is to remove the noise from the images. So this is what we are going to call it as image denoising problem. Okay, so what will be our desired output? A clean image. saying that the majority of the noise is being removed from the input image. Okay, so if you see, so now the question is, how does autoencoder is going to remove this kind of noise from the image? So as already discussed, the autoencoder tries to do what? It tries to reconstruct the input data. That is, if we are going to give the corrupted images, okay, if we give in the input the corrupted images, now what autoencoder will try to do? It will try to reconstruct the images. Okay, if you see, what do we do? So if we wanted to get the denoising, that is, we wanted to remove the noise out of the corrupted images. So what we wanted to do, should we change the architecture? Obviously no, right? So a small tweaking. So what is tweaking? Tweaking means tuning. Okay, so we have to change, or we have to tune this architecture with some modifications. Okay, so to compute the loss, what we are going to do is here, instead of using the input and the reconstructed output, actually I told you, now we have some input which is given to the encoder. Okay, and now from this encoder we have a feature z, and from here we are having a decoder, and then we are going to have an output, right? So instead of using the input and the reconstructed output, what we are going to do, we are going to calculate the loss by using the ground truth image and the reconstructed image. Okay, don't worry if you don't understand it. I will show you with the help of a diagram. If you see here, this is our actual input image, right? This is our actual input image. It is given to the encoder. Okay, and then if you see, between the encoder and decoder, we have a bottleneck. Okay, the decoder gets this input from the bottleneck, and now we have got the reconstructed image. Now, if you see here, the loss is between, that is the difference between the ground truth image and the reconstructed image. It is not in between the input image and the reconstructed image. Okay, do remember this one. So in the autoencoder, we are going to find out the loss between the ground truth image. So we know our actual truth image, that is our bare truth image is this one. Okay, but what we are doing, we are giving the input image as this one. So while we are calculating the loss, so how we are going to calculate the loss? We are going to take the difference between this ground truth image and the reconstructed image, but not between the input image and the reconstructed image. So this is the main intention behind this one. Okay, so this is all about the auto encoder.